Welcome to the channel, everybody, and today is another Scum 0.8 going nuclear and beyond news and update video for you all. So let's get straight into it, shall we? So first up, we have the programmers, as always. Touching up on item decay systems, we have resolving database errors, working on the cooking rework, which is a big one, still being worked on, but we should see this with 0.85. They are resolving issues with the new server settings. So last week or the week before, they were creating new server settings, I'm guessing to implement with the new features that are coming in. Now that they're resolving these issues, it shows me that they've implemented them to the test servers, possibly, tried them out, come across a few issues, and then this week they'll work on resolving those. Other than that, we've got working on the master server protocol. Now, some big ones coming up is about the sentries. So we've got the new sentry combat behavior, new sentry grenade launcher functionality, resolving issues with sentry navigation, and implementing the tear gas effect as it's been finished now. So they'll work on that with the grenade launcher functionality. Now, when it comes to the sentry navigation, if you've been playing Scum a while, you may notice that the current mechs we have in, sometimes on their patrol routes they'll get stuck on a tree or a rock. You know, sometimes they'll just be static, they won't be moving, they'll just be looking at one spot. So I'm guessing what they've done is they've implemented the new mechs into the test servers. They've realised that the pathing is having some of these same issues, either hitting trees or a rock or something. And again, it will just be going through making sure the pathing is correct for them all. Other than that, as I said, they are implementing the tear gas effect eventually, as it's now been finished. So we should see them as well as the grenade launchers on the new mechs. So the new mechs are going to have grenade launchers for grenades, tear gas. They're also going to have a railgun as well as a flamethrower. So yeah, they should be a lot of fun to be dealing with when they're implemented in the future. Other than that, something to take care of them though is the rocket launcher. Now, they're saying they're implementing the rocket launcher. I'm assuming they are referring to the RPG-7, not the Endlaw. So hopefully we'll get this to deal with these new sentries on 0.85. If not, between 0.85 and 0.9. Now, other than that, we've had a lot of bug fixing being going on, and they are working on that smoking feature still, which will be implemented to work alongside the fatigue system. So quite a few things been going on with the programmers. Again, not a lot's been coming out of Twitter as of late, so it just tells me that they've got their heads down, working tremendously hard to get this update out on time. We move on to level design now. We've got tweaking item spawners for the loot rework, working on abandoned city distant LODs, bug fixing, tweaking the fog, and optimizing the abandoned city. So with the fog, at first, I did enjoy the fog. I still do enjoy the fog. I think in the nuclear site, it's very welcomed. I think it suits. With Samabor having a static fog, I kind of, over the past few weeks, I've kind of slowly been changing my mind about it. And I feel like we should have some sort of dynamic weather system with that fog. Either, you know, it rolls in overnight, in early morning, you know, and by afternoon it's gone. So it's only, you know, late night, early morning when the fog's there over Samabor. Or what we do is when we have like a bad weather system like this, thunder, lightning, heavy rain, stuff like that, we could have the fog implemented in with that bad weather system so it travels around the map with that bad weather. I think that would suit it a lot more, and I think the player base would be a lot happier with it that way over just having that area completely covered in fog. The reasoning being, the nuclear site, it kind of has a reasoning for it. You know, it's a nuclear site. It's, you know, everything around there's all, it's supposed to be an atmospheric place, you know. But with Samabor, it's just a large town. It's not supposed to be that atmospheric as such. So, yeah, I think having a dynamic sort of weather system inclusive with the fog would be a lot better for the player base. Talking about the abandoned city optimizations, I'm going to throw up a few photos here so we can have a look at as well. So we had these pop up on Twitter yesterday, I believe it was, and they're just some more images of the abandoned city. And as you can see here, by the looks of it, there is some fog. And I believe that some of the areas of the new POI are going to have this foggy sort of atmosphere to it. Being so close to the nuclear site, I feel like it's acceptable to have it here. But then again, they may adjust it in the future for it to be, as I said, a dynamic thing with weather. But yeah, I cannot wait for one to get straight into this new POI and start searching around and having a good gander. Now, whether or not you're going to need a nuclear hazmat suit because it's so close to the nuclear site is another question. Now, as you can see here in this image, the fog doesn't look as present. So, again, it may just be that certain areas of this new POI are going to be covered in this, you know, static fog and this atmospheric sort of change as you go from bits from the nuclear site into this town and further out from it. So, again, we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But onto the art team, they are working on the new trailer. So last week you'll notice that I may have read into things a bit too much, into a typo. So it looked like it may have been a typo by this week's dev update. You know, they may have finished that trailer and that's why it only says one trailer now. But if you remember last week, there was a typo and it came across as there may be more than one trailer in the works. But I'm assuming it's just the one now that they've rectified this in this week's dev update. On top of this, obviously they're resolving issues with the rocket launcher animations. So the last point we made was they were implementing the rocket launcher. So again, on the testing servers, they've obviously been using this, testing it out, found a few issues of it, and they'll go back and do a few more bits of work to that. And a big one that a lot of you will be happy about is they are working on the Ruger animations. Now, the Ruger has been sort of this mythological pistol that people have been waiting for a long time with Scum. It was teased quite a while ago. We haven't really heard much about it since then, but it's nice to see that that is in the works, and a lot of you will be excited for that. Okay, so other than that, we've got cooking item grip animations and working on cooking items. This will be involved with the cooking rework, and this will just be to do with when you're looking at stuff, when you're holding them, it's being held correctly. I've noticed this with, I think, the Carno E8. In a certain view, when you're running, your left hand isn't actually gripping the rifle, it's just hovering just below it. So again, this will be to do with that, just making sure that items are actually in your hand correctly. Other than that, we've got bug fixing as normal, texturing cruiser parts. So again, they're coming up to the final stages of this cruiser. So hopefully we should see this as well as the ATVs and the tractors with 0.85, if not just after. Other than that, we've got adjusting clothing items to the new male models. So again, male models have been a thing that we've seen over the past sort of 4 to 6 weeks on the dev updates. And I'm going to hope that they come in 0.85, but I think it may be a 0.9 feature, as I've said the past couple of weeks. So we'll keep an eye on that, see if anything changes by next week. Moving on to the sound team, we've got working on new trailer sound effects, recording and production of trailer voice lines, and Sentry voice lines recording and production. So we had new voice lines for actors last week, and I was wondering if this was to do with the trailer or if it was to do with possible NPCs having new lines. It looks to me that it may just be trailer lines for the actors, but we can hold out hope that the devs have listened to some of our suggestions about the traders, and maybe they can implement some more voice lines for them. Someone commented a very good comment on my video a couple of days ago, I think it was, saying that it would be good that if the voice lines were working with your FP. So if you've got a very high FP, they won't call you a stranger every time you walk in, you know, that sort of thing. So it gets you a bit more immersion into the game. I thought that was a very good idea. And ideas like that, as I stress, send them over to the suggestion box over on the Discord, because the more people that do it, the more likely they are to listen and implement something. So other than that, obviously the Sentry voice lines recording and production is going into effect because the sentries are nearly finished now. So not much for the sound team, but they are working hard on those new trailers. So moving on to Q&A CM. The same old, week in, week out, hunting banners, cheaters, ban appeals, Steam general discussions and bug reports, performance benchmarking and optimization testing. Again, they are hard testing of upcoming features on servers now, and various bug reports. So all your bug reports and suggestions will go towards this, and they will look into them. Again, this doesn't change very often, week in, week out. The only thing that we've noticed over the past few weeks that has changed is the testing of upcoming features on servers. So they're hard testing them now. So we know that the 0.85 is coming any day now. I was kind of hoping it would drop end of the month, but it didn't. So I'm going to say end of May at the latest now, but hopefully in the next 2 weeks. Moving on to design team. We have adjusting killbox and cargo drop locker systems to the new loot rework. So obviously with the new loot rework coming, everything's going to get adjusted, including killbox. Even the cargo drops that come down with the timers on them. They've got 6 lockers inside them. They'll be done as well. We've got adjusting boat fuel consumption. Now this is a massive one because I have noticed myself over the past couple of weeks recording on my PvP series, I have not been able to use a boat for a plan that I've had, and it has been stressing me out. I even found a boat with 2 fuel canisters, and I fueled up in the middle of the ocean and it did not accept the fuel. So again, big bugs with the boats at the moment. So if you do come across one, just beware. The fuel consumption is very high on them at the moment. It drains fuel like no tomorrow, and if you have extra fuel on you, there's a chance that it will not accept the fuel into the engine, even if you do fill it up with a full jerry can. So just be aware of that at the moment until the patch comes to fix that. It will be soon, most likely will come with 0.85. Again, that should come within the next week or 2. Other than that, we've got readjusting inventory space on clothing. So last week we had inventory sizes and stuff being adjusted, and now they're readjusting inventory space on clothing. So again, it brings me back to my point last week of some things are, in my opinion, too big for a spacing. So like a pumpkin and a mushroom, there's a certain mushroom that you can find that is exactly the same size as a pumpkin if you put it in a bag. To me, that's a bit ridiculous. So again, it'll be things like that that they are readjusting. With your inventory, they're probably either adding or taking away some slots of inventory to certain items. Other than that, they're working on the new GDD files, working on the rocket launcher parameters. So again, a lot of work's going into this rocket launcher, and I believe they're probably going to try and implement this at the same time as the mechs, because the mechs are very difficult to take down unless you've got some very high explosives with you. I mean, I've even shot a mech with a grenade launcher quite a few times and it still didn't go down. So again, that will probably be within the rework of mechs damage and, you know, things like that. They may even implement some sort of loot drop on the mechs if you do manage to destroy one of them. But again, we're going to have to wait and see when the mechs are implemented, and we're going to have to go and destroy one ourselves and show you. So that is pretty much it. Again, as I said, not a lot's been going on the news front for Scum over on Twitter, Discord and such, other than the regular update that we're getting each Monday at the moment and the odd photo here and there. So thank you for joining me today. Really appreciate your time. If you did enjoy the video, give it a like, hit that subscribe button, because there are currently 3,000 returning viewers on the channel and we're not even at 500 subs. So I'd really appreciate if you just smash the hell out of that like and subscribe button, because it would help me out tremendously to build up on this platform. So thank you for everyone that is currently subscribed and supporting the channel. Much love to you all. Until the next one. See ya.